Welcome everybody to another edition of WCW 2004 here in TEW 2020 as we're continuing on the road to Halloween Havoc. And of course, before we get to the actual show, time for another cell drop for the Mayhem Tournament Pick'em. And just want to go over things again. Still plenty of time to get your picks in as again. The final predictions won't need to be in until the first Nitro of November, which at our current cycle should be in 2 weeks. But, earlier you get in, earlier you don't have to worry about it anymore. But again, to go over things, you go to the link in the either here that you can see, or that'll be listed in the YouTube description or in my Reddit post. And again, you just sign it up. And again, if you don't want me to send anything to your email, include either your Reddit username, Twitter username, or some other way to contact you. Otherwise, I'll just use your email that you list in. And if you want to use a junk email for that, that's fine too. But anyway, you pick who you want to win. And again, remember, I only care about the final four and who you choose as the winner. The finalist does not matter since, there is no finalist in the four-way ladder match. That's the Mayhem Tournament finals. But yeah, I can go over the prizes. First place is a match at the June pay-per-view of your choice outside the World Title main event, a wrestler brought up from developmental, a dev signing of your choice, a dev release of your choice, and one push and depush of a wrestler on the roster, and one firing of a member of the WF in-game roster, all within reason, which I'll go over, obviously via email or Reddit message if you win. Second place is a title match of your choice at a Nitro, a push and this is at Nitro or a Revolution because we will be doing a split in the year, and a push and a D-push, and a dev signing of your choice. And again, for push and D-push, if there happens to be a pure luck, some sort of conflict, where one person wants D-push and one wants push, it goes to whoever finishes higher. So, if who wins wants a D-push wrestler A and the other person wants push wrestler B, then I'll, just have have the second place person choose somebody new. And in third place gets a match of Nitro as your choice and a dev signing of your choice. And finally, if I get 10 predictions or more, there'll also be a random drawing from everybody who put in predictions to win outside of the top 3, and they'll get to have a match of Nitro on their choice. So again, follow, again, all of us listed here, follow the description, then just, again, there will be upsets in this tournament. This will not be a shock tournament, and also there might be some prizes in the end. Of course, maybe the fact that I'm saying there's a surprise means there will be no surprises, or maybe, who knows? The final four might be, Eddy Guerrero, simply Joanie Devine, Chuck Palumbo, and oops, oh right, I forgot there's another list, right? And Brother Ray. Or who knows, There'll be all sorts of random combinations that could happen. Well, I mean, actually, only one combination that could happen, same booking. But regardless, let's get on to the show. So again, Nitro, we got 15,000 people in North Dakota, and we start off with our first pre-show match in a while, mainly just because I feel bad that the women have had some limited time, especially the lower card women. They have time on a Saturday night, but because, again, lots of people on the roster, can only do so much. There was the big long-term, sort of women's feud between Team Sky and Team, Lizzie. That's sort of done, and now we're sort of building up stuff. And of course, women's side. But regardless, building things up, we've got about that pre-show match of the Terrible Wrestling and Boston Crowd Heat. We've seen Music defeated Ronnie Jonah, Danny Neidhart, and Amber O'Neil in 9:35. 1v6-minute Jonah. This also just gives our less our wrestlers have a little experience, like Jonah and Natty, some in-ring time. This gets a 51. Music gets a 49. Jonah gets a 36. Natty gets a 35, and Amber gets a 53. And also, this is interesting. Mike Sanders, Jeremy Brush work extremely well. So this could be your future Nitro or Revolution team in the long-term future. But we again become good actual Nitro, have the opening, and then Sean O'Hare's music hits, and he comes out to a big old pop from the crowd. Basically what happens is he starts out and basically cuts a promo and says, the interesting thing about being world champion is about how much more attention you get from everybody. The crowd, the people, out there, lots of media, lots of appearances, and already it's beginning to wear me down. But I do this every day because of the fan support, and more importantly because I want to prove that the future shock is now professional wrestling, and I am building a new standard for everybody to meet in this business. As long as I'm world champion, I will get in that ring and fight whoever I need to prove that I deserve to be the heavyweight champion of the world. And there's nobody that can stop me. Everybody will fall with me. And then cue Eddie. Cue Eddy Guerrero music, Viva Guerrero, to sort of a big heel, but also sort of a confused pop, as of course Eddie has lost. And he's like, look, I say, it's my time to talk now. Yes, blah blah blah, you were world champion. Yes, I was world champion too. It was tough, but I didn't whine about it. I just did the job, and then when I lost, I tried to get my title back. But certain people, looked at Sean, got in the way. And I don't care, you're a champ. Mine, you're still a paper champion because you've gotten lucky every single time. And her's like, at some point, it's not luck, it's skill. And you may not like Eddie because what? Because I'm the type of wrestler that maybe was pushed, that was given more opportunities than you for years. But I'm just as talented as you are, Eddie, and it was proven in that ring a few weeks ago. So I could walk away, but reminded, I'm the world champion and you're not. And he's like, oh, I can take that title off you any way I want. And Sean's like, hey, you want to fight? Let's go. And cue Shane Helms, as Sean's like, wait. No, I want no BS. After years of being held down by the office, finally have what I deserve, a world title shot at Halloween Havoc. So, if you think I'm going to allow myself, the greatest United States champion of all time, somehow not get my title shot one-on-one, and allow it to be turned into some sort of weird three-way or somewhere else where I don't get my chance or rematch and I'm pushed out, no. Sorry, Eddie, nothing personal. This is business. There was going to be no title match tonight. Boo. But then, O'Hare's like, well, if you guys are so mad at me, why don't, I'll take two of you on a tag team. I'll find a partner. And I was like, no. Also, I'm going to make sure I don't end up injured and lose my shot that way. I've already had that happen once. I'm not going to let it happen again. So no. But, Eddie, I have the best tag team in the business as my backup. You want to team with them? I'm sure O'Hare can find some geeks for you to beat up on later tonight. Cue Ray Jr.'s music, as obviously he's the first martyr. And Ray's like, look, Eddie, I know you're afraid that I'm going to beat you again. That I'm going to prove that I'm the greatest luchador of my era. And I'm going to do that tonight, and then on Halloween Havoc, I'm doing it again. And in 70-year anniversary of our match, I'm going to prove that I'm the better man. Big pop for that. And, Eddie's like, fine, Holmes, but that's only two people. And then cue Paul London coming out to a decent pop as he stands behind. And, cue the Youngsters putting over the big six man as this gets a 92. And since this, sets up our big main event tonight. Actually, lots of green. So not quite 100, mainly because O'Hare isn't quite there, Ray's Ray, and Helms is there. So, but still, good solid stuff. Looking forward to our opening match. Of course, simply Joanie Devine and Mark Jindrak, as part of the chosen few, have attacking Teddy Hart and Jack Evans, who are part of Hart Legacy, to make their mark here in the tag team division. And now in this match, in each match, simply Joanie Devine defeats Jack Evans 727 by pinfall, following a Divine intervention, which I still need to look up, following interference from Mark Jindrak. So, solid, back and forth, just high-flying match. These are both cruiserweights. Jack Evans does this flippy stuff. Divine still does some cruiserweight stuff, but does some cheating. Rough gets distracted. Jindrak comes in, just wallows Evans from behind. That allows Devine his finisher. 1, 2, 3. Big win for Devine and Jindrak over, Jack Evans, as this gets a 70. Jack Evans gets an 83. Honestly, I'm probably under-pushing him at this point. And Devine gets a 58. And post-match, the chosen few run away as Teddy Hart comes out for the save, as it gets 69. And after the announcers, after the commercial, it's announced another match has been named to Halloween Havoc. That's going to be simply Joanie Devine and Mark Jindrak versus Teddy Hart and Jack Evans. And then we move forward to our next segment. And then basically, backstage, and Cartier and Cole are doing backstage wrestler things when European Disunion walks up to them, and Cartier's like, "What is it that you want?" We're trying to get ourselves ready for a title match, something you guys don't know about since your team lost. And Colt's like, "Look, we went into that War Games match because we thought it would be a chance to achieve victory for ourselves and won a title shot. It did not work out as we want, but that's what happened when you team up with bimbos and other assorted trash. So that's fine. But Cartier, you got lucky. But here's the thing. Yes, you submitted my partner, but you've never beaten me, a former World Champion. So, on Revolution, prove you deserve that title shot by defeating me in that way. Cartier's like, I don't need to beat you to defeat you to prove that I deserve my title shot, Colt, but it's fine. I'll kick your ass and give Joanie a little preview of what's going to happen to her at Havoc. Big pot for that. As we set up now a match for Revolution, Cartier versus Colt. This gets a 50. Unfortunately, Cartier was poor. Busick wasn't great. Probably should have not rated Busick. She was just in the background. Not the end of the world. Still a solid little angle there. After then we come back. So yeah, we then that we came back from commercial to, and now Bill Goldberg kills Merrick Grave in a minute with a jackhammer because he's Bill Goldberg, and also a slight change because his gimmick was stale, so he's being changed to the Man, which got a grade. So small boost of psychology, penalized for comedy, and penalized for comedy bouts. Received bonus when booked dominant. So hey, that's great. Anyway, 64 because it's a 1 minute squash. Goldberg gets a 92. Merrick Grave gets a 5. Go have fun with Tyra Black for a few years. And post-match, Goldberg just gets a quick promo. I think it's 2 minutes. I marked down as maybe 3. Yeah, right, 3 minutes. So he basically, gets in the ring, he gets his hands raised, he says, look, I don't talk a lot because it's not my business. I do my business in the ring, you just saw. But Monty Brown, you have to understand something. Lots of guys have thought they were the next me, and all of them ended up as failures. Now I'm not saying you're going to be like them and completely disappear into the mists. But you're an extremely talented wrestler, but you never faced the Man. And Halloween Havoc, I'm going to remind you why I won nearly 200 matches in a row, and how impressive it is, because people are already talking about you like you did something special when you're 20 or something. So, at Halloween Havoc, Monty, you're next, and it's going to be a message. Decent promo, 71 as we move forward. And then we go to the back. Oops. Let's actually push it here. There we go. So we have a little backstage promo, which gets 100, because this went... Okay, this did go 6 minutes. As Eddy, walks in the Helms Legacy locker room, and he's like, look, I'm going to ignore what you said out there, because Guerrero Family Values is about winning, not about keeping grudges when it's not useful. But tonight, keep your nose out of this match. I'll team with your guys, but they have to listen to me, a former world champion, instead of a guy like you. I was like, look, you're talking to a future world champion, Eddy, not a man who may be a little past his prime. Ooh, but you're right. I don't even involve this business because you've got the best tag team on your back, and they'll take care of the work. Will you deal with the little masked guy? So have fun with that. Then they have a hard shake as, just put over, is Shane Helms actually going to not get involved in the match? As this gets 100 because these guys are great. And then we go to the ring where the 6 men involved in what's, being pushed as a preview of both the Cruiserweight title match and the big Noble AJ Styles match at Halloween Havoc also has Blitzkrieg and Prince Jose. And for the match, Prince Jose basically tries to pay off and says, look, man, as a prince, I see talent. And I see talent that's being wasted. So, take all of these Ganian bills and go get some training and come back a better man, instead of being stuck with these pathetic fools. And then Yang kicks him in the head, and the match is on, because there we go. 65, actually shockingly good, and Styles' gimmick is getting stale, which I'll take care of off stage, off camera, between shows. But yeah, then we go to the actual match, which gets... Oh, whoops. I put these in the wrong order. Ignore this, but that's unfortunate. I really did some... That's really screwy. Okay, so pretend this happened first, then that happened. So anyway, backstage, the babyfaces involved in the big 6-man versus the Triumvirate a little bit later. Just realized I did 2 big 6-mans, but okay. Backstage note here, I was going to do O'Hare and Ray versus Cash and Reno, and then have Eddy involved via interference or something, but O'Hare and Ray have terrible chemistry, so there we go. So I just sort of extend things and involve Paul London. Anyway, so backstage where, Brothers Ray's like, look, I don't know why those idiots think any of us attacked him. Like, Ron, you're a badass. Jeff, I don't think you could have the concentration to have a plan. Hardy says, I think that's an insult, but I'm fine with it. And Ron says, damn. But tonight, we're a team. And we've all been members of fantastic, great tag teams in our career. Some multiple. So let's go out there and show the Triumvirate that they're just a bunch of deluded morons. Hardy's like, hey, I'm down for that. And Tim says, yeah, let's remind them where they actually stand. As this gets 79, decent little stuff. As Simmons is not great, but the Ray's getting there, and Jeff Hardy's pretty over. So there we go. Oh, shit. I forgot to totally reset my order. Okay, I'm going to hit pause for a second. I'll come back to this promo in a second because I just want to double check stuff. Just as a quick note, this is actually... Okay, so I'm redoing the whole show here. So that angle you saw was actually just a backstage statement. And then we have the command tag later. I think that's the only thing that I can put this up because I completely blanked because I just threw angles willy-nilly and I forgot to totally reorder things. Anyway, Jason Jett's backstage with a quick promo. He says, as TV champion, and that just proves I have money, and our Revolution, Dean Malenko, you're going to be sent to the retirement home. I'll be back in a second with the actual show here. Sorry about that, folks. Ironically, rest of the show looks fine, so I probably just should have done some minor changes. But anyway, we have the actual match, which is freaking great. Anyway, any decent match, Blue Streak Yang and AJ Styles defeats Prince Jose, Luke Skipper, and Jamie Noble in 11:15 when Blue Streak pins Luke Skipper with, it says with the Ace Crusher, but he hits some sort of wacky stuff at the top. So let's get to 77, and this is just, did I mark it as high spots? I think I might have. Yeah, this is just everybody, Noble and AJ going back to their Cruiserweight roots, everybody just hitting dives, moves, flips, moonsault DDTs, springboards, weird double teams, Frankensteiners, poison run, all that fun stuff. Things break down. Eventually, Blitzkrieg goes up top, hits a big 450 splash on Luke Skipper. 1, 2, 3. He becomes the Cruiserweight champion a few weeks before Halloween Havoc. So yeah, this gets 77. AJ gets an 84. Yang gets a 50. Blitzkrieg gets a 53. Noble gets an 80. There's a chance if they have, because I forgot to have it in a single match. Regardless, if they have good chemistry and I book it correctly, this could be a really shocker of one of the 2 or 3 best matches on the show. Anyway, Skipper gets a 61, Prince Jose gets a 49, and fun stuff. And Skipper's getting better as gimmick, so that's good. And then of course post match they celebrate to a pop as this gets a 51. And then we have, I think, our next big angle. Yes, okay. So, okay, first of all, this must have been a freaking insane angle because this still gets 100 despite Jerry Lawler performing poorly, Shivani Hudson being weak, and the segment diverting better announcing and color commentator. So that just says how good this rolled. Anyway, so of course, Jerry Lawler goes down from the commentating desk to the ring and announces this is a special edition of the King's Court with 2 men who in a couple days will face off to determine who will get the next title shot after Halloween Havoc. Brings out RVD, huge pop, Jarrett, huge heel pop, and, Jarrett starts things by saying, of course, because Jarrett is, Lawler's old running buddy, says, you see, people act like, Rob, you're the guy who should get advantage of this match because you're having this hot streak and you're this great wrestler. But here's the reality. You've never been world champion. I have, multiple times. So Slapnuts, have some respect and realize I'm the man who's a favorite in a couple of days, and I'm going to prove why I was always the man who should have been leading the horsemen and the man getting the shots. And now as part of the chosen few, there's nothing you can do about it. And said, look, Jarrett, you're right. You've been successful in WCW and other places. But you've never actually had to fight for that. You've always been given those opportunities. And sometimes you mess those opportunities even when they're handed you on a silver platter. And Jarrett fires back, look, I was battling the best wrestlers in the world for decades when you were fighting in front of drunken mutants who cared about who was bleeding buckets next and which former stripper might show her tatas off than any actual skill in that ring. Van says, that's hilarious because look at the men who were in that ring. Eddy Guerrero, Chris Benoit, Rey Mysterio Jr., Psychosis, Mike Awesome, Lance Storm. Tons of fantastic wrestlers were in the business and they were given respect by those fans when they actually deserved it. But yes, I agree. If you were in that room, if you walked into the barbed wire city, Jarrett, they would care more about one of those former strippers. Ooh, pop. Jarrett fires back. Look, that's impressive, but let's be honest, you just listed a bunch of never wars like you on like the chosen one. And RVD says, look, Jeff, the reason anybody cares about you because guys like Lawler, Pop, were in business with your daddy, Big Shoot Pop, and then then some former video clerk who got power decided you were the guy for some reason. And Jared says, Slapnuts, that's hilarious coming from a certain dangerous manager's gold boy. Weren't you injured for like a year and you were allowed to keep a title? So much for supposed toughness of the barbed wire city. I was wrestling hurt almost from the day I started in this business. When I was still in high school, I was injured and I was driving all around places like Tennessee. And Fred said, look, we can fire shots at each other about the past, but this is about the future. And here's reality, Jared. This is my time now. I'm at the best shape of my career. I'm at the highest skill rate of my career. I'm feeling better than ever about my career now, Jared. And you can have your little minions try to run in, it doesn't matter. Because at Halloween Havoc, they'll be seeing that Rob Van Dam is your next number one contender in just a few days. Jared says, it's not nuts, we'll just have to see about that. And then that's about it. Gets 100 because these guys are both awesome and we're building the heat for that match in a couple days. And then move forward to a interesting little segment. I said moving forward to an interesting segment, which is basically Chuck Palumbo on the road. Like we see basically like footage of Chuck Palumbo on his motorcycle on the highways and byways of America, as he says, I'm driving across America to find myself because for too long I need to refocus myself and get ready to rise to the top like I should. So I'm visiting places, the small towns, the dive bars, the roadhouses, the dangerous places, to remind myself of where I came up and before I became a wrestler, and where I learned to fight and brawl with the best of them. So when Chuck Palumbo is back, he's going to be ready for war. Let's get to 79 as we move forward. And then we have our first big match, which, I mean, not the worst match, but honestly a little worse than I thought, unfortunately. Anyway, in a good match, the Triumvirate, Billy Kidman, Lance Storm, Mike Awesome defeat Brother Ray, Jeff Hardy, and Ron Simmons in 14-13 when Billy Kidman pinned Ron Simmons with the Kid Crusher. So back and forth match. There's some brawling between Awesome and Brother Ray. Simmons gets a heat segment. Jeff Hardy becomes face in peril. After hot tag Brother Ray, who goes crazy. Lance Storm does Lance Storm stuff. Some technical holds. Tries to get Jeff Hardy in the Kenny Maple Leaf, but Ron Simmons comes in for the save. Big 6-man breakdown. And eventually, back and forth, but eventually Billy Kidman is able to get sort of the weak link, Ron Simmons in the ring, and boom, Kid Crusher. 1, 2, 3. Basically, clean pinfall win for the heels. SS gets a 79. Awesome gets an 81. Lance Storm gets a 76. Kevin gets an 83. Ron Simmons gets a 64. Jeff Hardy gets a 90 because he's awesome. And Brother Ray gets a 75, which is pretty impressive. And of course, just put over, the Triumvirate are a well-oiled machine together. And these remind of our team will be together. And post-match, it looks like it's going to be your typical heel beatdown. When all of a sudden, somebody comes in from the ringside area, subs in the ring, turns around, Lance Storm, and Ace Crusher, Diamond Cutter, or maybe, as he stands up and sort of pulls his hood back, you could call it a Canyon Cutter. Yes, Canyon is back. Boom, Canyon Cutter and Lance Storm. Mike Awesome turns around. Boom, Canyon Cutter and Mike Awesome. Kidman comes in. Actually, a little bit of a fight, but boom, Canyon Cutter on Kidman. He then rolls out of the ring to a pop from the crowd. As Andrew's put over, we haven't seen Canyon since he lost to Kidman a couple, about 6 to 8 weeks back. I'll double check the exact moment. Again, should double check these things before I go through things, but things happen. But as Andrew's put over, obviously what is happening here is Canyon is the man who's been attacking members of the Triumvirate for the last few weeks. This gets an 83, which is kind of disappointing. Let me see, was there anything that hurt about it? Okay, Canyon's low morale, and hopefully I'll be able to fix that, but not the end of the world or anything. As it gets an 83, and then we move forward. As then, we're backstage with Jonathan Toro as he says, look, this is just a quick message to remind Paul London, when he's in that main event, that his time with the US title is ending. Because just as the reign of so many dramatic kings and Persian empires fell because of the Roman Empire, your time at the top of the US title with that belt is over because the Roman Empire is coming from you. It's coming for you, London, and there's nothing you can do about it. 69, not the worst promo, but not the best promo either, and just sort of building up things. And then before our main event, we have a quick promo from Wright and Chavo in the back as they basically say, you know, a lot of people are asking us, are we ready for Macy's Morningstar? And here's the thing. We're professional wrestlers. We're ready for any fight. And it doesn't matter how much make of your talk, how much you spend in smoky back rooms. At the end of the day, Morningstar Macias, you've got to beat us in that ring 1, 2, 3. And not that many of you are able to do that so far. So, say your spooky things, talk about a message, but at the end of the day, we're the tag champs for a reason. And at Halloween Havoc, you're going to find out that reason. So, decent promo, 70, fun stuff, and now it's time for our main event, which I'm not going to say I'm worried about, but hopefully is pretty good. Okay, this was awesome. Yeah, turns out, put like 4 great wrestlers, 1 pretty good wrestler, and Reno in a match, and it's pretty damn good. So yeah, I mean, this is, you know, you can sort of match Cash and Reno, cut things off. London plays face and peril. And then Ray Jr. gets hot tag. He plays face and peril for a while. Eddie does cheap stuff at ringside because he's, you know, heel Eddy Guerrero. But eventually things break down to, you know, a 6-man. But, you know, the fight continues. O'Hare, you know, sort of like no actual chance to get in the ring because moment, like, you know, you get typical, you know, babyface coming for a save, but then the ref, you know, pushes them out, which allows the heels to take even more attack. But eventually, you know, near the end of the match, Sean O'Hare gets the big, you know, face, you know, the long heat coming for the face, and he just goes wild. Like, Eddie comes in and he just gets wrecked. Cash comes in, who like did some spots where he was bullying Ray and Paul, you know, because he's the bully weight, and he just gets like sent to the outside. Reno's a legal man. Big brawl. Reno tries to, you know, do the same brawling stuff that, you know, had in the match with O'Hare, but unfortunately, Reno is Reno, and Sean O'Hare is the world champion. So power slam, lariat, Widowmaker in the ring. 1, 2, 3, victory for Sean O'Hare here in the main event of Nitro. This gets a 92, like I said. Paul London gets a 79. Rey Mysterio gets a 90. O'Hare gets an 85. Cash gets a 72. Reno gets a 73, and Eddy Guerrero gets a 94. And then post-match, so basically, as soon, like, you know, obviously, the brawl's continuing. Ray and Eddie are, like, you know, basically, Eddie's on the outside, and Ray is, like, diving out onto Eddy Guerrero as the bell rings. And then, but as O'Hare gets up, Sean O'Hare slips in. Boom, super kick, lays Helms out. London tries to make the save, but he gets, like, basically hit with a double team move by Cash and Reno, and he's, like, you know, rolls out of the ring hurt. As Eddie and Ray are rolling to the back, you know, it's a 3-on-1 beatdown until WCW officials, you know, sort of come in to break things up. As the announcers really put it over, this has been a huge target cat on Sean O'Hare, as that gets a 95. So overall, the show itself gets a 93. Okay, good stuff. Honestly, I was kind of worried. I mean, honestly, why I made that 6-man of the main event, because initially the Triumvirate match was going to be the main event. Then I like double checked Ray's and Simmons over, and it's like, ooh, that's not going to be great. And hey, it's really good. It was getting sort of a huge push in this game's version of WWE. Anyway, let's move forward. Let's see what Raw did. Probably some random 99 involving a random tag match. And again, I understand why the AI has to do that, because, like, the AI, like, again, TEW's the best AI booked wrestling game, but it's still an AI booking thing, so what can you do? Anyway, so we got Shane Helms thinks Ronnie John is a natural talker. Interesting. And Arsenal thinks Amber O'Neil is a natural talker. Anyway, let's look at Raw. So we had Viscera and Al Snow defeating Lance Cade and Christian York. Ouch. Ouch, that's a lot for the former tag champs. Crush Holly defeating Peter Saturn, which is interesting. Like, honestly, yeah, Saturn is for Saturn. DDP and Scott Hall, who, according to the game here, is now a new tag team between Sia Richards and Devon Dudley in an 81. Kurt Angle winning a squash. Brock Lesnar winning a squash. The Gals of Bruja, who are like sort of new heel tag gimmick that I set up a few, you know, earlier at SummerSlam. defeating The Rock and the Bumping Grind. Oh, crap, I forgot. Okay, so I meant to put The Rock back on vacation, but not in the world. And 92. Honestly, these guys going over The Rock in a match is actually kind of interesting. Will Rio defeat Christian in a random 99, because of course it did. Undertaker defeats Scott Steiner by count in a 99, because of course it was. And our main event, Shawn Michaels and Big Show defeat Triple H and Chris Benoit tables match in another random match. Fun times. Anyway, they got a 3.15, and I'm just interesting. We're getting currently a 2.84, so not bad. And they only what did they do for an actual show rating? Okay, we actually beat them in a show rating, which is interesting. Let's see here. Any other news of note? 5-star. Big time independent women's wrestling. Anybody of note that we care about? I mean, Kana's here, but again, people do this in their game, and I'm not signing them for it. I just find it completely unrealistic. So Kana's just gonna have to be out there on the Japanese indies for a while before I even think about bringing her in. But yeah. Anyway, so nothing much of note. Yeah. So I'll be back in just a moment with Revolution. So we're back for Revolution, live from the CenturyLink Center in Omaha, about a little over 15,000 people. And we start out with Canyon coming out to a big pop from the crowd here in Nebraska. As he hasn't been seen in about a month since he lost Shane Helms, and just sort of disappeared from TV. And he says, you're looking at a man who was the WCW World Champion. And after I lost the title, people called me conspiracy theorist because of the things I was saying, and the chance I thought I never got the rematch that I deserved. But I moved past that, and I earned your respect alongside the GOAT. But things changed. And I'll be honest, me, Rick, Malenko, we got our ass kicked by the Chosen Few. And then Flair was just gone. Malenko, he just showed up, and he's doing his own thing. And I needed to do things on my own. Because I decided I needed to stand on my own and proved I deserved to be at the top of the WCW. That I was more than just a guy who was world champion because I had the course winner. So I fought. And I got involved with Kidman. But he got lucky. And then I continued to fall. And I needed to figure out myself. And figure out why a world champion was getting his ass kicked all over the ring for months upon end. I needed to remind people that I was a former world champion and one of the best in this business still today, and prove that I'm still the SOB that can get a cane cutter out of nowhere at any time. So yeah, Triumvirate, you were just in the way. As you were fond of saying, it was just business. And you're reminded that you're still a bunch of whiny assholes. To the Triumvirate who come out and says, look, Chris, can I call you Chris? It's sad. Look, the reality is, it's my time now. And time for people like us that you and old Uncle Rick kept away from the main event because you're the horseman. Instead of guys like us, the greatest cruiserweight all champion, the man who dominated the barbed wire city, and the greatest technical wrestler in this business today. So, but if you get on our way, we'll happily take you out to the woodshed like an old horse and make some glue out of you. Because this is our time trial, Canyon, and there's nothing your ass can do about it. And Canyon fires back. Look, Kidman, you've been on a roll, you've been lucky, you've been good, you won some titles. But you're still not better than Canyon, because nobody's better than Canyon. And if you want to take me out, fine. Come show up to Havoc, and I'll remind you why I was a world champion, and none of you guys never will be. 93, good promo, and yeah, I mean, it's basically confirmed, on the TV on the weekend, that another huge match for Havoc, Canyon versus Billy Kidman. And we'll pre-book that, and oops. Oh, whoops. Oh, right, it's on there? Hold on. I'm being dumb. Let's try that again. Go through Canyon versus Billy Kidman. Save. Good book. There we go. Okay, that was weird. Anyway, then we move on to a graphic that shows, the huge meeting between Jeff Jarrett and RVD Knight. They get 70 because it's just a graphic, and then we move forward to the next segment, which is our opening match of the evening, and of course Dean Malenko, your match for the TV title. And in a decent match, Jason Jett gets the big win over Dean Malenko in 8-17 by pinfall, with a crash landing, but I'll have to rename that. I think it's the Moneymaker or whatever. But anyway, clean pin. Like Jarrett, Jett does heel stuff, but in the end, he's a little younger. He's a little quicker, and honestly, at this point, he's just a little better than Dean Malenko. And he makes his second defense of the World Television title, as this gets a 71, Jet gets a 69, Dean Malenko gets 68, and celebrate chemistry. And post-match, Jet celebrates like an ass because he's Jason Jett, and this gets a 65. And big win for Jason Jett as he continues his successful run here so far. And then we go backstage where Jeremy Rush is with AJ Styles, and of course, Ward has, AJ asks about his match at Havoc, and AJ says, "At every step in my career, people doubted me. When me and Paris came in, we were thought to be too small, but we proved everybody wrong, and we're the best tag team of this era. And now on my own, people thought I'm too young, I'm too brash, and not ready. Well, I'm here. And Jamie Noble, you're a great wrestler, one of the best in the business today, but you're also whiny. You're also just a bitter SOB who thinks just because you've got some big bodyguard behind you that you can do whatever you want. And you have some success, but I'm phenomenal. And at Halloween Havoc, I'm going to show you that it's my time now, and it's time for the rise of AJ Styles." 80 good promo building up the Halloween Havoc match as we move forward to basically a quick little segment where RVD is basically training, doing quick little kicks and stuff to various baby faces as they sort of hype him up. We got Blitzkrieg, Yang, Teddy Hart, Jack Evans, and then Natty in the background. As this gets to 68, just a little fun build up thing for the main event. And then we have our women's match as this gets a decent reaction from the crowd with Savar Wrestling as Celine Cartier defeats Nia Colt in 8-18 by pinfall with Cece LeVay, which is basically her version of the air raid crash. Solid match. Colt does her technical stuff trying to get her submission, but Cartier uses her power to fight out and eventually hits a few big suplexes. Big lariat picks her up, the Celeste LeVay, and get the clean pinfall victory in a 60. As in a battle of former women's champions, Celine gets the win here, as Cartier gets a 49, partly because she's still injured, and Nia Colt gets a 54. But as Celine is standing up to celebrate, boom, it's Joanie Laurer, as she screams at Celine Cartier, "You want to send a message? Well, here's my message." She just sends Cartier through the outside, sends her against the ring, the guardrail, and just throws her around, beating her, hitting with a big boot, and she actually removes the blue mats removes the mats that are inside. Looks like she's going to hit a powerbomb on Cartier on the outside before the officials basically pull Cartier away from her and hold her back. As just put over it looks like Lawler is not very happy that Cartier talks about sending a message to Lawler tonight. As it gets 69 and builds up the women's title match at Halloween Havoc. And we have a quick little segment where Rey Mysterio Jr. is talking to Hector, and Hector's like, "Look, Rey, it's true. Eddie's right. We didn't always wear the white hats, but back when we were wrestling, we had to do that at times. Eddie's Eddie. And we know what Eddie can be like. But at Havoc, you need to remind him that this is a family business, and he needs to get back to his family." Ray's like, "I'll do my best, but I'm also going to try to win, because this is also about proving that I'm the better man, Hector. I respect you, but that's what I got to do." So continue a little build up. This is a quick little 2-minute segment as it gets to 63. And then we have basically a rerun of what happened on Nitro, which I Palumbo on the road, as it gets an 84. And then we have sort of a wacky, build up match for the U.S. title match at Halloween Havoc. As an extremely short match, Paul London, Ken Anderson, and Yang defeated the Roman Legion of Romeo Lavernus, Spinning Brown Phoenix, and John Toro in 506 when Ken Anderson pinned Romeo Lavernus with the move I still need to change to the Kenton Bomb. As this gets a 52, and this is basically just a match to get some people on TV and build up the U.S. title match, as pretty much near the end, like London gets Storm to the outside, hits a huge dive on him. Match breaks down. Anderson grabs Romeo and gets a 1-2-3 victory, as this gets a 52. Yan gets a 48. Anderson gets a 44. London gets a 77. Toro gets a 42. Swinger gets a 45. And Romeo gets a 41. And post match, Toro and London continue to brawl, which gets a 75. And okay, so actually, I need to push a little more. This is better than I thought. So like London hits the big dive, but Toro fights back quickly, and Toro actually grabs the U.S. title belt off the ring announcer's table and tries to hit London with it, but London's ready for it, ducks under it. It goes to basically hits a springboard DDT onto Toro, onto the title, then grabs the title, holds it up to cheers of the crowd, and then walks to the back, as this gets a 75. And then after that, I said game after that, we have a quick segment as Brother Ray talks to Canyon, and he says, look, I'm sure you expect me to be upset that you got me involved in that silliness with Triumvirate, but I respect what you're doing. See, you gotta fight fire with fire, man. And, in the extreme, I sure did some stuff that people wouldn't like. So you did what you had to do, man. And I respect that. And he's like, thanks. But, I'm gonna fight my own battles. Really? Cool. 69, just little babyface, backing up babyface stuff. And then we have a segment with Macias Morningstar back in the Graveyard of Souls, as Macias, looks scary to Macias things, and Morningstar says, Alex Wright, Eddy Guerrero, you state that you're not scared of us, that we're just wrestlers like any other. And you think, you said something silly and funny and hilarious about the message, but here's the reality. The message is the truth, whether you like it or not. And the message has guided us towards you because of a simple reason. You're soft targets. There are other men who are more dangerous than you. The message thinks we should not target quite yet. But you're 2 men. A failed European star who hangs on to any talent they can to stay relevant past your due date. And of course, the nephew of an actually great wrestler who has done nothing in this business without his help. You're like lambs to the slaughter, and Halloween Havoc. We will hear your screams. 88, building up the tag title match. And then we have a same thing basically with RVD, Jarrett with Chosen Few, only they're just relaxing. Insert, if needed, some random talent from Gentleman's Club around the area to put it over, as if it's a 68. I don't know why it's not clicking. There we go. And then we have a complete squash as Ray LePen just kills Steve Johnson, a local dropper, in 53 seconds. This gets a 34, and yeah, this just is Ray LePen just runs him over. Again, I forget his finisher off the top of my head, but he hits whatever his finisher that I talked about last show, and just kills Steve Johnson. And then he cuts a quick promo and says, see, this is what I did all over the world for years, and now I'm here in WCW to dominate, just like I've done in places like South Africa, Indonesia, Australia, Namibia, Kuwait. All the places that companies like WCW won't go, I have dominated, and now I'm here to prove that there's nothing that can stop the international incident with the pie. 37, fun stuff. In building him up. And then we have a fun little thing as Tank Tolan and Don Rio are in Bischoff's office, and Bischoff is like, look, we've got limited time on TV. We got to get everything. We got to hype up pay-per-views, build interesting matches, draw ratings, and all that stuff. And sometimes there's just not time for everybody. And Tank says, look, the sexiest man in WCW deserves to be on TV every single week. Bischoff's like, do you understand? I've got 100 guys 80 guys, and have a dozen women who also all think that. And Tarpon basically puts her hand on Tolan's chest and says, look, babe, I'll handle this. Go outside for a second. And then Tolan, we follow Tolan outside, and then as we go outside, we see Dunry unzipping your dress because it's 2004. We can still do angles like this. 61, and we'll just see what goes with that. And then, oof. What hurt? Oh, I forgot that storyline. God damn it. This could have been an 80. This could have been like an 82 or 83 if I would have added the storyline and probably built some meat. Anyway, this is just. Oh, I forgot to mention that doing promo, they agreed to a match between Kane and Mike Awesome. And this is just a fight. Like, I put this as a wild brawl because this is actually what they would be like, match to the outside. I'm sure there's a table bump, a chair gets involved. Attempted Cannon cutter on the chair, but Awesome fights him off. Awesome goes for the Awesome onto a table, but Cannon fights him off. But eventually, Cannon gets the advantage, hits a Cannon cutter, hits a flatliner, clean pin, 1, 2, 3, and then Cannon gets an 85. Mike Awesome gets an 80 cutter, still pretty good, and would again probably would have been 84, 85 if I would have remembered to put the storyline on. And then, but of course, what happens? Of course, the rest of the Triumvirate run in to get pushed to the beatdown, but then Jeff Hardy comes out to make the save to a big pop and sort of runs out the Triumvirate off, and this gets a 70 as Jeff Hardy continues to be the babyface who helps other babyfaces out. And fun stuff to continue this angle and build up the big Kane and Kid match for the Halloween Havoc. And then we go backstage for a promo as Lacey Dumas says, "It's hilarious. Every time I have to deal with these disgusting, sloppy, weirdo WCW fans, they say I'm ducking Trisha Sky. But that's not the reality at all. You see, I've beat Trisha Sky all over the world so many times that it doesn't interest me to fight her any times. And plus, I'm not cleared for purely one-on-one matches. So Trisha, have your fun trying to defeat a former WCW Women's Champion. And when you fail, you'll have to realize you're never going to get your match you want because you don't deserve it. And I'm trying to do things that matter to me, not to some blonde bimbo who's still obsessed with past losses." Dumas out. 58, decent promo, and now it's time for our main event. And yeah, let me just see here. Holy shoot. Fuck. This could have been 100 if I would have done the DQ, but hey, shit happens. So yeah, this is a fucking awesome match. Like, it's a slow build, so Jarrett works on Van Dam's knee. Van Dam actually sells it well, but fights back. Does some savant kicks and actually does some brawling of his own. Hits a dive to the outside on Jarrett. Jarrett brawls back. Continues to try to stop on the figure four, but Van Dam fights out of it. Eventually, it looks like Van Dam is getting the advantage. Hits the Rolling Thunder. Hits the side salto kick without the chair. Hits a big backbreaker. Actually, sort of hits a side moonsault for near fall. Jarrett fights back, hits a big DDT, tries to lock in the figure four again, but Van Dam blocks it, hits a cradle, brawling. Van Dam gets the advantage. Goes up top for the 5-star frag splash, but then Jindrak just openly runs in and pushes him off the top, and the bell rings, and beatdown is on. So this gets a 98, and this was awesome. Let's see, RVD 93, Jarrett 88. Let's see here, and yeah, slowly building, legendary gimmick. Hot crowd, fun stuff. And then post-match, it looks like it's going to be a 3-1 beatdown, and Jarrett just destroying RVD even though he won the match. When the Hart Legacy come out and make the big save to a pop from the crowd, as this gets a 79. So overall, show itself gets a 90. Okay, good stuff. Honestly, that 98, I don't say saved the show, but probably stopped it from being in the mid-80s. Fun stuff. So yeah, let's just see if there's any interesting news or anything, and then we'll go from there. Okay, Vegeta is going to take an MMA fight. Of course he would, because he's Vegeta. Gedo invents a new move. Sure. Yeah, Morningstar thinks Swinger. I mean, honestly, he ended up being at least a decent guy. And I just want to show you guys real quick, because this is sort of interesting. All Japan's in a mess. They still have, I think, hold on, let me just pull them up. Right, I can't remember, but they still have a couple guys, but the rest of this roster is kind of insane. We've got Chris Sabin versus Savio Vega in matches. We've got Jim Steele, yes, that Jim Steele, and Johnny Smith versus these guys in main events. Yeah, it's not great for All Japan. But anyway, in other New Japan news, or Japanese news, New Japan in the past week had the big show, Ultimate Crush 4, and let's just go over it real quick. So, The Punks are still over there. He beat Kagetora. We had Chronic still over there. They beat Hugh Morris and Robbie Rage in a none of these guys are not on the gas match. We had Onro defeating Lenny Lane. We had Wing Kunumura defeated Big Vito in your FMW ECW offer match. We had, let's see, this match doesn't really matter. Doesn't really matter. Azuka defeated Nakanishi and Mike Rotunda in a 3-way. We had Ken Shamrock defeat Super J in a 60, because, yeah, Ken Shamrock's old and not great at this point. We had an actual interesting match, as Silver King and Sakabura, yes, that's Sakabura, defeated Gato and Jado in a 73. We had Nagata defeating Nishimura in an 86. Great match. Then Tanahashi won back the junior heavyweight title from Bobby Roode in a 73. Unfortunately, Bobby Roode did not defend the title once when he was champion. No, he defended it twice. So let me go back to his defenses real quick. So yeah, he won the back title. He defeated Tanahashi once at Wrestling World and then did not defend the title again until October. I might have to go in and futz with New Japan's title setting because I think they might be a click too far down where they don't defend them enough. But in the main event, in a pure Inokiism stuff, except Johnny went over, so I guess. So this is what happens when Inoki's still in charge, but Moody's the booker, is that, hold on, I forget, Muda's still the booker, right, okay, I forgot, but anyway, this happens when Muda's the booker, but Inoki's still the owner. He's still your Inokiism, but Muda's buddy go over as in a not great match. So yeah, that's what's actually hurting New Japan at this point, is Ogawa still being on top and stuff like that. Because if they were putting Nagata on top, they'd actually be pumping out 90s like nobody's business. Anyway, now back to WWE. So for SmackDown, we had Shaniqua defeating Molly Holly for the WF Women's title in just a random match on SmackDown. Fun times. 78, which is actually pretty good. Shawn Michaels winning a squash. Chris Jericho promo. Brock Lesnar promo. Kane, Vampiro, and Leviathan defeating Orton, Bump and Ground. So what might actually happen is Leviathan, aka Batista, might get over now that he's part of a stable. Edge defeated Scott Steiner in a 98, because of course, sure, why not? And of course, the new improved team angle, Kurt Angle and Billy Gunn defeated Big Show and The Undertaker in a 99. Fun times. So then we go to our death heads. So first, where are they? NWA Wildside. So Wildside TV. Stuff we care about: Chance Prophet defeated Claudio on the pre-show in a 55. Tony Jones and Kai Graves defeated Trevor Rhodes and Stone Mountain in a 52. A bunch of angles. Travis Tomko defeated Ryan Drago in a 41. Tomko's already up to a 41, which is interesting. Shane Balor defeated Matt Morgan in a 49 because Morgan's still basically learning to work. And then not much of note. Rick Michaels and TNT defeated Adam Ortiz, Christian Bull, and JC Daz, which is sure a team. But yeah, fun stuff. And then for the weekly house show, we had Rain Man defeated Ryan Drago. We had Kent Cole and Sonny Siaki defeated Double C and Lashley by DQ, so that's interesting. And interesting that Lashley's up to 25, so that's good. Dakin Briggs defeated Matt Cross, so fun for Matt Cross. Tony Jones defeated Kenzo Suzuki, who Kenzo's sort of seemed to hit a thing here. Tomko, Trevor Rhodes, and Strowman defeated Militech, Ortiz, and Daz, so 2 of 3 of our regions. Shane Ballard and Kate Grimes won a match. Shane Ballard defeating Chance Prophet in a ladder match. And then, of course, the top of the card is still mainly original Wildside guys. So that's it. And then, for American Wrestling Queens, AWQ Weekly, I think the first TV show I've done, which only got 778 viewers, which, what can you do? Mischief defeated ODP in a 43. We had Bonnie Maxson defeat Becky Bayless by DQ in a 50. We had Beth Phoenix and Liho Osaka and Lacey defeated Allison Danger and the Mega Woman, which is Miss Molly and Cindy Rogers in a 57. Lacey's getting 64s. Liho Osaka is still getting 62s. Allison Danger's getting 66. Again, some of these women, there's just not enough space on the main show for it at the moment. Social Machine defeated Ariel and Vanessa Hardy. Sure. And Sharon Lisa defeated Kim Nielsen / Desire to retain the women's title. So fun stuff. And then if we go to the other show, we had, HWA had one of their big shows. So we had Court Castle defeat Dusty in a cage match to open the show in a 31. Andy Douglas, who's one of the naturals, defeating Barry Bradburn, who's a regen, in a 40. We had Skinhead Capitola and Shockboard defeated Rocky Romero and Club Deluxe. We had Scott Vick defeat Jimmy Jacobs by countout. We had Ricky Shane Page defeating Alex Shelley. Chuck Taylor defeated Joel Grunge. Devine, which is Ray Steele and Russ Haas, defeating Logan King and Caliber. And Mass Record defeated BJ Whitmer and Ekmo Fatu to retain the TEW Heavyweight title. So that was a show. And then for the weekly show, we had Andy Dokes defeat Jimmy Jacobs by DQ in 37. We had Scott Vick defeated Barry Bradburn, who was again a regen. Joel Grudge, Capitola and Sharkboy defeated Ricky Romero and Club Deluxe. Ray Steele defeating Alex Shelley. Chuck Taylor defeated Logan King and BJ Whitmer to retain the TV title. And Mike Sprecher defeating Ricky Shane Page at Fatu to retain the HOA title. So, yeah, that's the second tier of WWE's developmental. And for OVW, ooh, the machine left. Okay, that's interesting. Yeah, hold on, let me reset this. That's interesting that Doug Basham actually left. So there's a little bit different from reality. Again, not the biggest thing, but anyway. So 3 shows actually this week. So let's see here. Things you guys care. Mafia to Chemo, which was probably a stiff as hell match. Lizzie Borden and Elysian Chambers defeat Chantel Taylor and Miss Natural. And Evolution Chambers already up to 24. Chantel Taylor at 27. Damaja defeating Shaggy. Yes. Danny Basham, I think, defeated Shaggy Duto. That was a match that happened in this reality. Chrissy Ritchie defeated Riptide. Again, Ritchie's probably somebody who would be on WTV at this point. Ryu Constantino defeated Machine in his jobbing toward the outside. Homicide and Spiky defeated Maven and Joey Ryan in a ladder match. Well, 2 of these guys are canceled, I guess? No. Yeah. Right? Yeah. Anyway, Justice defeated Bull Buchanan in a 50 because it's Bull Buchanan. Then the further Saturday show, let's see here. Shannon Taylor defeated Evelyn Chambers in a not good match. Miss Natural defeated Sarah Stock. Let's see here. Bull Buchanan and Rob Conway defeated Isaiah and Joey Matthews. That's an interesting team. Ryu Constantino defeated Machine in his goodbye tour. Lizzie Borden defeated Riptide. And Homicide and Spiky defeated Maven Mafia to retain the tag titles. 65. And Justice defeated Joey 69. And then in the big show, we had Charlie Haas and Chemo defeating Rory Fox and Trailer Park Trash on the Under Free show. Mount Luca Mafia getting a win. Riptide defeating Evelyn Chambers. Chrissy Ritchie defeating Chantel Taylor. Trent Baker defeating Machine in Machine's last match. Lizzie Borden defeating Miss Natural by DQ. Joy Ryan defeating Joey Matthews in a 67. Yikes. Homicide and Spiky defeating the A Squad. And just defeating Bull Buchanan. So, fun times. So, I think that's it. Nothing really else of note going on in the game. Nothing else too weird, I think. Or, if I remember, I'll mention the next show. But, that's it. Again, to remind folks again, links in the description below. But again, sign up, make your choices, and you might win some prizes, or at least some prizes as far as choosing matches from your book. But that's it for now. So if you enjoyed the show, go ahead and give it a like, comment below what you're liking and not liking, and subscribe to the channel for TEW 2020 content, and possibly soon some other stuff. But that's it for now. So talk later, and adios. Have a good one.